push and shove. Possession is the motivation that is hanging up the goddamn nation. Looks like they always end up in a rut. Everybody now trying to make it real compared to what? Come on, baby.
Hello everybody, I'm Dan Pascucci. Welcome to another exciting edition of Everything But the Kitchen Sink, one of the many wonderful shows produced here at Mansfield Cable Access Studios. It is a pleasure to be here. I like to start the show off the same way all the time, and that's if you would like to be part of this show in any way, shape, or form. That means if you would like to be a guest on our show, if you have a question for one of our guests, would like to be a part of our studio audience, like us to read something, all-purpose way to get a hold of us for anything, okay, is through our email at mansfieldkitchensink@gmail.com, right there in front of your screen, courtesy again of our very good friend and the guy who keeps us running here, Mr. Jack O'Neill. Also, we are on Facebook. You can get the show on Facebook at facebook.com/MansfieldKitchenSink. We are on Twitter, okay, and that's at KitchenSinkTV. Check that out. And, of course, you can find us on talkmansfield.org. So that's it. And again, it is just wonderful to be here. We got the we're doing a little going to do something a little different tonight. We got a great guest, and I know everybody's spring is in the air, and you know, it's been raining a little bit, but all you people that have your swimming pools and whatnot, your hot tubs and everything, are hard at work getting those liners off, getting those airbags out, and getting the water cleaned up, getting your pools filled, your filters working, and all that fun stuff, so you can have a labor-free summer. It doesn't work that way, actually. You're out there with the skimmer every day in the vacuum, and pools are a lot of work, but also pools, and they're a lot of fun. All right, pools are a lot of fun, and we love to go swimming, and love to hang out by the pool, and it's nothing better to lay out in the sun with a cool drink in your hand and your toes in the water. But there's another side of swimming pools, and that's safety issues. And there's a lot to be learned about pool safety and local codes and things like that. And of course, in Mansfield we have an inspection department. In Mansfield, we are blessed to have with some of the finest inspectors you could ever come across, and they're a good team, and they're led by our good friend Nick Riccio. But all the inspectors in Mansfield are very good. They're very thorough, and they are very professional. And we have with us tonight the assistant building inspector for the town. He's been a guest on the show before, but for different reasons. My old friend Lee Day. Welcome back, Lee.
Hey, Dan. Good to see you. Thanks for having me here.
No problem. Now, you are the assistant building inspector when you're not with your custom cars and
that's correct.
Your classic cars and everything.
That is correct, Dan.
Okay, and so you do have that day job.
I have the day job.
Okay, and that is assistant building inspector of Mansfield, and along with the usual things that a building inspector does, you also, swimming pools falls under the building department.
Swimming pool safety, hot tubs and spas, which is in Appendix G in our code, which is the 8th edition of the Mass State Building Code.
Right.
And it's what we follow for swimming pool safety, which applies to gates, alarms, heights of gates, and everything else that we'll discuss tonight.
Oh, good. And it applies to a lot more than that, though. There's all kinds of things you need to know, about the pool, and it's not a toy.
It's not a toy.
These pools and spas are not toys. There are dangers out there, and you know what, you can enjoy them to the fullest as long as you're aware of everything, and they're made to be enjoyed. And they're made to keep you cool and everything, but you gotta remember it's not something you just throw in there and walk away from it. Correct?
The importance is the safety features that can be put in place to make them a much safer place than some of them are today.
Right. And also, if you have a pool, if you have a swimming pool, there are certain codes that you have to follow in order to have a pool. We'll say in Mansfield, we're dealing with Mansfield.
Well, the first issue is above ground pool or an in-ground pool, both require a building permit. And when it comes to above ground pools, you see these, what they call a pool in the box, that are only 24 inches deep. Those also require a permit if they hold 24 inches of water or more. And a lot of people don't know that. They run to the store, they buy one, they bring it home, they set it out in their yard, and it's a hazard open to anyone in the neighborhood at that point.
Okay.
It has to comply with all the safety and pool features, the same as an in-ground pool or above-ground pool do.
Okay, does that include inflatable pools? You have these pools now that they're quite popular. I see them everywhere. And they're just, you blow them up with air and you fill them up with water.
Those are the ones I'm talking about.
Okay.
A lot of people don't understand that because they think they can just buy it and set it up. The code is specific, and it says if the swimming pool can contain 24 inches of water or more, a permit is required, and the safety measures must be in place. And these things get popped up all over town every summer.
Yeah, I see them all over the place, and I think, in fairness, I don't think people that buy these actually know that they're doing something they shouldn't be.
They usually don't. However, in the instructions, they are specific, and it says check with your local building department.
Right, and again, most of these are assembled and blown up by men, and men notoriously, we don't read directions.
Not only that, they plug it in with an extension cord. It doesn't meet the GFCI, that's electrical requirements. It needs an electrical permit, so on and so forth.
Okay, GFCI now. For those of you who do not know what that is, why don't you tell us what that is?
And that is a ground fault circuit interrupter. If there's any deviation in current or ground, it trips the breaker at the panel or at the outlet.
Oh, at the outlet. So if you have one of those that's got the little buttons on there, so when you're plugging your Christmas lights in the snow and it trips, and you press the button, that's what that is, a GFCI, and it's important. It's a safety feature.
Exactly.
And now by code, you're supposed to have those like in kitchens and bathrooms and...
In a water location.
Right, so
With
where
the
you plug
kitchen
your
sinks,
washer, yeah. Kitchen
bathroom,
sink?
Kitchen sink.
No.
Where's your GF?
I don't, you know what, actually we don't, well, it's like this. We're up to code, I swear.
Okay.
Okay, right down to the
We'll give
wheels on the
that-
cabinets.
We'll check that out after the safety show.
Okay, so now let's talk about the different kind of pools. Now we have these pools in a box. To me, I thought the pool in a box was maybe I'm dating myself, with the metal ones. The metal ones with the aluminum skeleton, and you put the metal wall in and a liner in it.
Those were popular when we were younger,
Yes.
or maybe even up to 15 years ago.
Right, and those inflatable pools have taken over,
They have.
and they're big. Some of them are really big.
And they're simple and quick to set up.
Right, and that's what
And
you...
it's quick and easy to forget the
Right.
safety features.
Okay, so those pools require to have a building permit, and they have to be under code. Now, does that mean they have to have a fence around them?
Absolutely.
Now, what kind of fencing is approved for pool use?
When you have an in-ground pool or a pool that's lower than a 4-foot wall, such as the 4-foot or 54-inch high above-ground pools,
Yep.
the code says the fence must be 48 inches high.
Okay.
There can be no more than a 2-inch space at grade under the lowest portion of the fence
Okay.
to prevent the child from going under. In the balustrade, there cannot be more than a 4-inch space between each baluster.
What does that mean now? Explain that.
That's the spacing of the slats of the fence
Oh, okay.
that a 4-inch sphere cannot pass.
Okay,
and
so
they
like a
come up-
picket fence. Like a picket fence, they have to be 4 inches or closer together.
Exactly.
Okay.
You'll see a lot of them today. They're aluminum tubular,
Yes.
small tubular, and that space cannot exceed 4 inches.
Okay, so those are more for metal ones then.
For metal. If
Yeah,
it's
the
wood,
aluminum, yeah.
If
Woods
it's, if
usually
it's
don't.
wood, there's a couple of variables here. If it's a picket fence, the horizontal members, which would be what the slats are nailed to,
Yes.
those must be more than 45 inches apart from the top of the lower member to the top of the upper member, so a child can't try to climb it.
Okay.
If it's less than 45 inches, then that space has to be reduced from 4 to 1 3/4, which is the size of a child's foot.
Okay. Now, what if the fence is facing the pool? Does that matter? I mean, if you get, most people have that part of the fence facing the pool.
The climbable part,
Yeah, so you
Again-
can get
again.
out, but you can't get in.
again, if those horizontal members are less than 45 inches, the space cannot exceed 1 3/4. In most of the 48-inch high fences, the cross members are at the far bottom and the extreme top. So they're more than 48 inches, so the space can be 4 inches
Okay.
between the balusters. Chain link fencing is another type of fence. The spacing on the chain link fencing, the diagonals that are formed,
Yeah.
cannot be more than 1 3/4.
That's like pretty much a standard size for chain link fence.
It is, but there's also a 2 1/4 fence.
Yeah.
That can be utilized providing you drop that. And they have a slat member that falls
Yeah, the
between
little
them.
color things or
That will
whatever.
reduce that 2 1/4.
Now, obviously, no one can go through those holes. So why would that be? Why would it not be allowed to have them that big?
Again, it's the child's foot.
Okay,
And
so
when we talk pool safety, I'm going to somewhat eliminate 6 years and older at this point, because this more focuses on birth to 5.
okay,
They don't know water. They don't know the dangers of water. It's all about accidents happening. Kids will horseplay. Some of the statistics we'll talk about goes up to age 15.
okay,
So, not to eliminate that teenagers drowned also, but I'm really more focused on the infant that can get out of the house and can get to the pool area and drowned.
okay.
Our statistics show that approximately 300 children from age 1 to 5 die per year.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a lot. And up to 2,000 in emergency treatment
Wow, from pool.
from swimming pools. We're not talking about all drowning incidents because they can be several other things.
Right.
They can be buckets, they can be toilets, they can be anything with water. Focusing just on pools, that the statistics are
About- yeah,
somewhat alarming.
600 children and adults drown annually in swimming pools. 330 in home pools. So
Home pools.
So the majority of them are in there. Even
And this is alarming here. In 2010, this is the latest statistics I have. Some of them go back to 1990. It says here that between Memorial Day and Labor Day, 200 children younger than 15 drowned, just in that window,
right.
just between those holidays. They use some of the bigger states, the warmer states, California, Florida, Arizona, Texas, and Ohio, because they use more year-round, and the statistics are more accurate. In a 1-month period, 27 drownings in California, 15 non-fatal.
Wow.
So, I mean, the statistics go on, and we can talk about those. We can make a whole show out of that.
Wow.
But not to get off that, but on statistics themselves, people may have heard of the Virginia Graham-Baker Pool and Safety Act.
Yes. Why don't you explain to the people at home what that is?
Virginia Graham-Baker was a 7-year-old girl. She was a swimmer from age 3, self-taught, did not need any guidance learning to swim. She was in a swim team. She swam from 3 to age 7. She was in a public hot tub and was drawn to the bottom by a suction drain. And the suction drain entrapped her at the bottom of the hot tub. Mother tried frantically to remove her, couldn't get her off. 2 gentlemen come along. By the time they got her out, they had to break the drain to get the girl off. She drowned. She died in a matter of a couple of minutes. It was a public facility. So it's not like you can just run over and shut it off.
Right.
So she was trapped. And the death was drowning by entrapment. So long story short, Congress acted with a law that her mother worked feverishly on for a few years. And in 2007, the Virginia Graham-Baker Pool and Safety Act was established, which sets in place safety measures for pool drains, hot tub drains, to prevent the suction and entrapment.
Yeah, moving further down the list here, we were gonna hit on those drains at the bottom of pools and spas and whatnot. But they are a danger. They are a danger. You never know, when they're open and
And they have been changed to a point where they're an